which is going to be a conversation between the famous storyteller of our times, Sri Paresh Patnaik sir, and Moutushi Mukherjee. They'll be discussing about the journey of Heart Lamp, Hrudaya Pradeepa. Thank you, sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Welcome to this session on Banu Mustak's Heart Lamp. We will be discussing on Heart Lamp, the book which bagged the International Booker Prize for the year 2025. And Madam Moutushi Mukherjee, she is the head of translation in Penguin India Limited. When Banu Mustak's book was taken up by Penguin for publication. So I would like to request Madam to share her experience or the journey with Banu Mustak's Heart Lamp.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I must apologize because I will be speaking in English entirely. I can understand Oriya, but I can't speak it. So this session, I think we will do in English. Thank you for having me here at the festival. Thank you, Manu. And thank you for everyone who turned up this morning. I'm so happy and so privileged to have been able to publish Heart Lamp, translated from the Kannada language by Banu Mushtaq and translated by this fantastic translator called Deepa Bhasti. And as someone who runs a translations program for a major publishing house, there are always many limitations, many factors that go behind selecting a book. I only do 12 translations in a year because I do other books also in fiction and non-fiction. So within the translations program, I published 12 translations. And within those 12, I have to keep in mind many parameters behind selecting and curating the list of translations in a particular year. They have to be from different languages, they have to cut across different formats. So I would like to have fiction, novels, novellas, short stories, maybe a poetry, non-fiction memoirs, autobiographies. So within that 12, I try to cover as much as possible, try to give representation to as many languages in India as possible. Last year, I had two very interesting submissions from Kannada, one of which was Heart Lamp, Hridayadip, and the other was a novel. And I met the translator, Deepa, separately, who reached out to me, and she told me that she was aware that I was getting a lot of submissions in Kannada, but that she wanted to point me specifically to not just the collection that she had translated, but to the author, which is Banu Mushtaq. I had never heard of Banu Mushtaq before that. And of course, when we talk about Kannada literature, I would think of Vivek Shanbag, or any of the other names. And I had never heard of Banu Mushtaq. So the fact that Deepa was very insistent and she said, no, I want you to look up the life of the author and see her body of work. You may then find it interesting to particularly focus on Heart Lamp and why we should have the stories of Heart Lamp brought to a larger public. And then I did a deep dive into Banu Mushtaq's life. And I discovered what a fascinating life she had led. Deeply political life, of course, and very in your face about her politics. She was not apologetic about it. And she was very brave. She continued to be brave. She continues to be brave even now. So I was fascinated by Banu's life and therefore her body of work, which was a reflection of her life. Many of the stories in Heart Lamp, if you read in English or in Odia, you will detect an undertone of the personal. Many of the stories are personal stories, actually. Many of the events, many of the protagonists are based on her own life. Events in the book have happened to the author. And so that got me interested. And I wanted to therefore, and I spoke to Banu and I finally went on to decide that we must actually have Heart Lamp. Even though it's short stories, we must have Heart Lamp on our list.
Thank you. Actually, Madam Banu Mustak is the first to won the Booker International Prize for short stories. And she is also the first from Kannada language. She has already won Kannada state award for short stories also. It is told that the 12 stories of Heart Lamp were written over a period of 30 years. Whether any specific book in Kannada was there, or you have selected stories written by Banu Mustak over the period. Different stories, or a specific book was there.
No, there is no one book on the which was translated into Heartlamp. There were many short stories which were curated and written and published by a Kannada publisher. That Kannada publisher had curated it. We had not curated it, and it came out as Hridaya Deep in the Kannada. And then Deepa Bhasti had translated from that. Yeah. So that publisher, the Kannada publisher, whose name I'm forgetting right now, had actually curated the selection of Banu's work.
12 stories. You have not added
12.
anyone? Or
No, we did not.
12 stories were there.
12 stories were in Hridaya Deep. Then those 12 were translated into English by Deepa and submitted to us.
Okay. When you decided to publish the stories, whether you have any speculation or expectation that the book will be one day will be selected for Booker Prize, or appreciation by each and all, or anything great to be happen?
No, we never think of that when we pick up a book. The Booker Prize is something that we are talking about a lot more now because we have won it twice. But before 2022, we had never won it. So it was not part of conversation that this book will win the Booker Prize. It was never part of Indian publishing conversation that we will win this prize or that prize, and certainly not the Booker Prize. When in 2022, Ret Samadhi and Tomb of Sand won the first Booker, then it was, everybody thought, oh, this is a great thing, but now that we won it, we're never going to win it again. Because the Booker is very rare that it gives the same country the same Booker twice. So it was never a consideration for us, and certainly not for Banu and Deepa. And one of the conditions for the Booker Prize is that you may have the best book in translation in India, published by the biggest publisher or whatever in India. If there is no UK publisher for that same book, that book cannot be listed or sent to the Booker committee. The Booker committee will not accept it unless there is an UK-based publisher. So the first step was to actually, once Heartlamp, we had finalized the files and we were ready to send it to print, then an agent came on board. And he took the manuscript to a UK publisher. And it was a hit or a miss. It may have worked, it may not have worked. As it so happens, that UK publisher was, at that time, looking for a very specific Indian book, stories that were from India. That was his criterion. So I think things fell into place. There is a journey that Heartlamp had to take, and it took that journey. And when the UK publisher came on board, it was the UK publisher who told us, Stefan, who told us that he wanted to submit it to the Booker committee. And we were late. So we still didn't have any hopes because it was short stories. The Booker has never been given to short stories, ever. And India has already won before. But the agent insisted and said, no, I'm going to give it. What's the worst that could happen? We will not win. And then it got longlisted. When it got longlisted, that was when until that point, we were not thinking of anything. When it got longlisted, we were like, oh, okay, now there's something. Then it got shortlisted. Once you're in the shortlist, I feel like you won because my author and translator get to go to London. They get to attend the ceremony. Whether they win or not is no longer their priority. They get to go, they get to sit with all of those writers and those editors and publishers and in that environment, and that itself is a big deal. And even before the event and after the event, there's a lot of exposure given to writers. So they get to have a lot of meetings, they get to attend book events, conversations at very big bookstores across London. So that whole exposure that predates the actual win, which is for about a week or so, that itself is such an experience for writers from India, because otherwise it's almost impossible to access those people. So when we were shortlisted, Deepa and Banu said, that's all, we don't need anything else. We get to go, we get to meet all these people, we get to meet Sally Rooney, and we get to meet, all of these fantastic writers and publishers and Waterstones and the biggest bookshops, and that itself is an experience. So they went, and on the morning of the event, the agent and I called up Banu and said, you have to keep a speech ready. And she said, what for? And I said, no, you keep it ready. Both of you keep your speeches ready. And they said, no, what is the big deal? And I know that they didn't. And in the taxi from the hotel to the event, they wrote down their speech on a piece of paper because they were not convinced at all. So,
Thank you. You knew it very well that Banu Mastak had already faced opposition from her community for portraying the Muslim traditions and criticizing the traditions. And while taking up these stories for publication in English for worldwide readership, whether you have any reservation on that issue, that communal matter or something like that?
So, in the stories of Heart Lamp, the issue of communal hatred is not very obvious. She does not talk about it as, it's not a Hindu, Muslim or any other divisive kind of stories.
No.
The stories are personal, like I said. The stories of women, Muslim women specifically, within the household, Antar Mahal, the thing that we say Antar Mahal, the stories within the household of women that no one talks about. So they are very hard-hitting, they are provocative, but not in the communal sense that we understand, that is about, politics. It's not that politics. It's more gender politics, I would say, and of course patriarchy and all of those factors are there. But it does not talk about, for instance, riots. There's nothing like that. So I was not worried from that point of view. I was very fascinated because I had not heard about I had not heard these stories so deeply and so personally. And because they were also personal to her, I found that fascinating.
Okay, thank you. In the story, that is 12 stories, the translator, she has not put any footnotes. In her words, I was very deliberate in my choice to not use italics for the Kannada, Urdu and Arabic words that remain untranslated in English. Italics serve to not only distract visually, but more importantly, they announce words as imported from another language. I hope the reader can come to these words without interference, and in the process of reading with the flow, perhaps even learn a new word or two in another language. This is the version of the translator regarding these footnotes. What is your opinion on this?
No, I agreed with her. That's how we wanted to do these are short stories. And footnotes, when you read fiction, footnotes can be jarring. You don't want to then have to connect. It impedes reading. And so from an editorial point of view, I do not like the idea of footnotes in fiction, short stories, novels. It's very difficult to read, or endnotes for that matter. And from the point of view of the translator, I can only speak for Deepa. I cannot speak for anything else. But Deepa was always very clear that when let's say an Irish writer is writing or a Japanese writer is writing and we are reading them in translation, there are many words in their language that are retained in the book, in the English book. So you may read Japanese words in a Japanese translation, and you may read Korean words in a Korean translation, you may read Greek words in a French words. So why is it that when we translate from an Indian language into English, we must particularly ensure that the English reader can understand. Why must we make it easy for them when they have not made it easy for us? We have had to figure out what that Japanese particular thing is. You know, we look up sometimes, or we understand while we read. Or when you read Russian literature, food, or whatever, you know, names of food, names of drinks, recipes, or whatever, they have retained those words. So if they have not made it easy for us, why is it that we need to make everything a literal translation? There was one word which I had some reservations about. There is a word called re in Kannada. I think it's a term of endearment. The way we say, in Bengali we say babu, shona, you know. There is a word called re in Kannada, which I was not able to understand. So I said, I think you need to change this to dear or whatever. And she said, no. It is very specific. It is not dear. So I will keep it as re. And she kept it as re. And so now we know what re is. We didn't know earlier.
Now, you know, I have translated all the stories into Odia. So I faced a lot of difficulties in translating certain words. So I have to take up with my Muslim friends to know. And in certain cases, they also denied, or they also they also don't know exactly the meaning where the words are from Kannada origin. So not only Muslims, they don't understand actual some words. You know, one story is that is Red Lungi. That is most popular story, and I think that is the best story in my opinion. I don't know which story is your favorite. However, in this that story they have written it as Khatna, but in Odisha it is told as Sunnat. So we have to find this exact word from the dictionary or some to consult others. However, I request you to just tell us which story you like from the 12 stories that is being
The
published.
first one is my favorite.
First
I
one.
also like the story, Red Lungi, as you said. It's a very hard-hitting story. But the first story in the English book, I don't know which is the first story.
Shaista, the
Shaista,
stone
yeah.
slab for-
Stone slabs for Shaista.
for
I
Shaista.
found that very, very interesting.
In my opinion, the Red Lungi is my favorite, and the situation where a mother comes with his son for the second time khatna to get some foods, that is the more pathetic or sensitive situation in the story.
I mean, the stories are about mothers and wives mainly, motherhood, and also men who are bound by, you know, how the life of the ordinary man in the household is bound by, let's say, the local mullah. Like, he can't go beyond that. He has to listen to what the mullah is telling him to do. You know, so how he is bound by, you know, by like bad marriages or whatever. So they are very personal stories. They are told from the point of view of the women, but also there are very strong male characters who are, you know, who are just in these very congested situations in their lives, and they're not able to break out of it, and they don't know how to get out of it because they have to answer to society, to family, and to their religious, because that's such a strong hold on them in their community that they're not able to get out of it. So those stories are very interesting. Yeah.
In Hrudaya Pradip, and all the stories are about Muslim women, and it is a new world for us. I mean, for me also, I don't know exactly what happens in Muslim households or their life, the life of Muslim women and girls in a conservative society. Society like I mean in a conservative Muslim family. So it is a new world. So I hope the book will be popular, will be appreciated by Odia readers. This Hrudaya Pradip, which is written by Banu Mastak and translated by me. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Paresh Patnaik sir and Moutushi Mukherjee for this amazing and enlightening conversation.